Welcome back. Well, after being pushed to an unwinnable position on the New South Wales Liberal ticket at this year's federal election, Jim Molan nonetheless went on to receive a record-breaking below-the-line vote of 130,000 plus first preference votes. Following yesterday's pre-selection ballot, Molan is now set to return to the federal parliament after being chosen to fill the spot vacated by Liberal Senator Arthur Sinodinos. Now, Sinodinos, I might add, backed another candidate, Peter Hendy, who didn't even come close. Yet another case of Sinodinos backing the wrong man. A retired Major General and a recipient of the Distinguished Service Cross, Jim Molan joins me now from Canberra. Well, Jim Molan, I'm delighted to call you now a Senator-elect in a roundabout way. I won't get in the way of the New South Wales Parliament to properly confirm you. But before we get into the politics of the weekend, let's talk about Remembrance Day. You're a former soldier yourself. What's this day mean to servicemen and women?
Yes, and it's good that we start there, Peter. I think that on a day where the country is overlaid by drought, where we have instances of vicious fires, and we've got Remembrance Day as well, remembering a war where some people say 15 million people died in the First World War and 60 million died in the Second World War. What it means to me, Peter, is that we don't just remember those who have paid the supreme sacrifice, we remember why they paid it and why we should work to make sure that great power war never ever again occurs again. And if we were able to kill 60 or, as some people say, 80 million people in World War II using what we now call conventional weapons, can you imagine what we would do with even modern conventional weapons and nuclear weapons? This is a day for remembering, but it's a day for ensuring we never ever go through major great power war, and the way to do that is by being strong.
And just let me ask you personally, what do you do on Remembrance Day?
Well, today I went for the first time to that magnificent church, St James Church in Sydney. We held a service at 11 o'clock. I then spoke at a lunch afterwards to a group of people with very strong institutional ties back through the United Kingdom and the British Empire. And we spoke about exactly what I said before, what it really meant, and what we can do as Western liberal democracy so that this never ever occurs again. Having done that, I've just spent the last 3.5 hours driving down from Sydney to Canberra, and that was my Remembrance Day.
Well, we're very grateful that you could join us tonight. Let's now turn to the politics. Over the weekend, you might have won 130,000 under-the-line votes back in May, but you had to dance before the factions of the New South Wales Liberal Party on Sunday, and you were warmly supported. I'll give people at home the final numbers: 321 votes to Jim Molan, and second to you was Richard Shields at 260 votes. What does it feel like to be given the nod by your party yet again into this time a winnable position?
Well, it is an extraordinary honour, but I should say that my 9-year-old grandson, Angus, who lives in Swan Hill in Victoria, when the Constitution and the pre-selection processes in their complexity removed me from Parliament a couple of months ago, asked me why I was fired. And Peter, if I could just say to him today, it would appear, Angus, that I have been unfired. But it really is a great honour, I must admit. And my good friend Wacker Williams, when I first went into the Senate, said to me, "You can never say that you've been a senator until you've been through a spill." Well, I've been through a spill, but I'd say to Wacker that it's taken a pre-selection, the entire process of a pre-selection, for me to feel the democratic process. And, you know, I have been a critic of the party, and I can't talk about political issues, but I have been a critic of the party in the past. But my feel over the last couple of days is that there is a degree of unity, and there was a degree of unity. And if I'm the recipient of that, then that's fabulous. But Peter, if I may, could I thank a few people? In particular, could I thank you, could I thank my supporters from the election, who, as you said, were 137,000 strong. Could I thank the pre-selectors, all of them, some anti-me, some pro-me, and say that what we've got to aim for now within New South Wales, as the PM continually says, is unity within the party, because if we're unified, we'll win. Could I thank the volunteers who assisted me? Could I really thank my colleagues in this House and my colleagues in the Sky family and the 2GB family who supported me so remarkably, some with endorsements, people like you on the television shows, on media shows like this. But in particular, could I thank Connie Fierravanti-Wells? Could I thank Alex Hawke? Could I thank John Howard and Alan Jones, who specifically gave me the key support? And could I finish by just saying that the Prime Minister's support to me was not just a letter, it was much, much stronger than a letter. And it was well-intentioned, well-placed, and the effect it had was tremendous. People rallied around it, rallied behind him in his state for the candidate that he supported. And I do honestly think that we do have a degree of unity forming, and that's what we've got to keep on forming, Peter.
Look, I have to agree with you, Jim. I thought, and many people did, many of my viewers did, but many people who are of the Conservative persuasion right around the country thought that your treatment was fairly shabby. It was factional politics at its very worst in New South Wales. I do agree with you. I think there's a line being drawn under all of that in May this year, and I think the Prime Minister is determined to put what's been a pretty terrible 10 years for national politics on the left and on the right behind him in the Liberal Party. So congratulations. Look forward to taking up your seat. Just before we go, I've got to go to Brendan Nelson, but when will you take up your seat in Parliament, do you anticipate?
Not fully clear. I understand that, and I've been in the car all day and in functions. Arthur may have resigned. I'm not sure about that. There'll be a joint sitting of New South Wales Parliament. Then the first opportunity after that, I'll be sworn in.
Right, well,
should
they
be
better get their skates on.
within a couple of weeks.
They better get their skates on. There's only two more sitting weeks to go. 2 more sitting weeks to go. All right, Jim Molan, Senator-elect in a roundabout way. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you, Peter. Thank you.
Well, you're an easy man to support, Jim. Thank you.